tell me I'm allowed to take this off for speaking. So I'm happy to do that, and then we'll slam it back on. For those of you who don't know, I'm Steve Ballmer, chairman of the Clippers, and couldn't be more excited to have a chance to talk with you here today. One of the key focuses for us in building the Intuit Dome is to really put the environment and the climate at the front and center of our design. I've had some interest, and then maybe a year or so ago, I started reading more, and then my kids got at me. They got at me. Dad, are you really doing everything you can for the environment? It occurred to me the arena is actually one of the showcase things we get to do. And so we went back over the arena design and asked, in every way, what can we do to reduce our carbon footprint, with even a goal of actually having carbon footprint negative. I read about this. I'm still a Microsoft lover. I was reading about some of the stuff they're doing, and their goal is, to not only to be negative, but to undo all of their previous carbon footprint. And the question we pose to the architects is, what is the maximum we can do? We'd already worked with the Southern California Air Quality Board, and there were a set of things we had committed to, and then we added on to that. The pièce de résistance, as we went through this, is when we had a chance to really sit down and meet the folks from Aspiration. Joe Sandberg, who runs Aspirations here, will talk to you a little bit more about their company. We can talk about our partnership. But to have our first founding partner be a company that focuses in on providing services to consumers and businesses to reduce or even go negative on their own carbon footprints was a great thing, particularly not only as we thought about our own building, but how do we help our fans do what they want to do? How do we help the Air Quality Board do what it is pushing us to do? And so it was great that Joe and the group at Aspiration was interested in working with us, and we'll talk more about what we're doing, but I'm pretty keen on all of the projects, and we're keen to have these guys as a marketing partner. So with that, let me turn things over to Joe Sandberg.
Thanks so much, Steve. There are a few people in the business world and in the sports world that I admire as much as Steve Ballmer. This is a true visionary and an original thinker, and those are rare and few and far between in this day and age. But it's visionaries and original thinkers who change the course of history. And we're partnered with Steve and the Clippers to change the course of Los Angeles sports history and all global sports history, which is turning sports into a tool to fight the climate crisis. We face this existential threat that you read about every day, but that is very abstract for so many people until it hits your doorstep. More and more people are facing climate catastrophe at their doorstep, and they're wondering, what can I do about it? And the vision of Steve and the Clippers is to give fans, to give sports, to give the NBA something very specific, automated, and actionable they can do right now while they're watching sports and enjoying the Clippers game to fight the climate crisis. So Aspiration, in partnership with the Clippers, will be delivering tools to all Clippers fans to make their experience watching the Clippers carbon neutral and even carbon negative, so that your choice of being a Clippers fan isn't just a choice of who you root for, but it's an expression of what you believe. And this is also, I think, what's so visionary about the Clippers and Steve Ballmer. The Clippers have their choice of partners, but they chose Aspiration. They chose Aspiration because this is an organization that is more than sports. It's an organization that is about contributing positively to this community and to this nation. That's what the Clippers are going to be increasingly known for in partnership with us. And those things are symbiotic to winning championships. Those are the things that bring elite players to your teams. In this day and age, players want to associate with organizations that stand for more than just dollars and cents. Aspiration wants to stand with teams that are for more than just dollars and cents. Now, we also had a choice of partners, and we didn't go out looking to partner with an NBA team. We went out looking for organizations that believe in using our everyday actions as people and businesses to create positive change in the world. And we happen to have found an NBA team and an owner in Steve Ballmer who believes in that. Now, I don't think that my freshman year basketball player self in high school ever thought that this is how I would be appearing at a dais with a basketball team, but I wouldn't trade it away for anything. I conclude my remarks by saying this. Steve's made an investment in looking at the future and how Aspiration can support that. And we've also made an investment in our belief about what the future of Los Angeles sports is going to hold. And in 20 years, there's no doubt in my mind, people are going to look back and see it was so obvious that the Clippers were going to be a championship organization across the board, from Steve to Gillian Zucker, who I've been so pleased to get to know through this process. I speak on behalf of Aspiration CEO Andre Cherney, who's my co-founder here with me, Ben Jealous, one of our board members, our new partner at Interprivate, Ahmed Fatou, and others who are excited to join Clippers Nation.
Hi, gentlemen. Back to your right, Brian Seaman, Clippers Television. I've got a question for Steve and for Joe. Steve, last week you unveiled Intuit Dome, lots of amenities, lots of toilet talk fixtures. Sorry. But one thing that really caught my ear was, again, the carbon footprint, which you kind of mentioned here. Can you go into a little bit further detail what Intuit Dome, how that's going to function, and becoming environmental and being responsible isn't always the cheapest way to go, as we've all learned. Can you talk about, do you have to use different materials? Is there a different process of building an arena that is not going to have a carbon footprint whatsoever?
Yeah, no, there's a ton of stuff that needs to happen, most of which I had no clue about, frankly, until whatever it was, 8-9 months, a year ago. For example, I didn't know there was concrete production. I read is a huge source of CO2 production. I mean, it's bad, but there is a concrete type where you can actually take CO2 out of the air and stick it in the concrete and go net negative on the production of that concrete. Now, I think from what I remember from the architects, there wasn't a vendor at the time that would do that really at scale in Southern California. So they had to get people to stand up and agree to do that. It is more expensive to do this carbon sequestration into the concrete. We said, okay, let's go ahead. Let's make the investment. We have a solar farm, 2 megawatt solar farm on the top of the building. Kind of an obvious thing to do. Not inexpensive, but kind of an obvious thing to do. We decided to go double high on our storage capacity. So we have 9 megawatts of storage capacity, which is important because it means we're capturing and able to use more of the solar power that comes off of the top of the building. That was, on my mind, a great thing. One of the emotional decisions was to use gas or electric for cooking. And, I'm not a cook. I don't know the difference. And everybody says, you got to understand, real chefs like gas. But gas is much worse because with electricity, you do have the option, which we're taking with the power company, to say we only want electricity produced from renewable sources. Now you pay a premium for that, but at least it bootstraps the market. So we made the investment. We're going electric. As I said at the announcement, we think we can make a damn good hot dog with electric cooking, but I'll bet very few of you would have an electric range like I grew up with when I was a kid. And just one more little point, since you brought up the fixtures, we have a water management program to use where we can recycled water, low water usage, and we should cut nearly 9.5 million gallons of water usage during the year. So a set of things, and the list goes on and on. I'm gonna stop there, but it was super important for us to build the building that way, and yet there were still issues. When we met with the Air Quality Board, their biggest issue, it turns out, what's our biggest carbon footprint? By far, is it the building? No. It's fans driving to the building. And so we had to both prove that we would make nothing worse than the situation at Staples, and we had to agree And with hindsight, I'm glad. At the time, I'm thinking, whoa, what's going on here? Is this really right? But I'm happy that they will audit. They're going to participate in the audit then of greenhouse gas production by our fans. Then we meet Joe, and we've got this concept for a fund that our essentially fans can put into to eliminate their carbon footprint when they come to the game. So if a fan wants to stand up, as Joe was saying, and make a difference, we will have an offer with Aspiration so that any fan can say, I want to be carbon neutral for this game.
So Joe, Aspiration is a pretty unique company. In that field, I've not seen anybody do what you guys are doing. You mentioned there are tools for Clipper fans. Like, and I'm a big environmental guy too. I drive an electric car, so I'm all about it. So I'm very
Do you have an
curious
aspiration
about,
card?
what's that?
Do you have an aspiration card?
So this is what we're talking about. This is why I'm asking the man right here. So tell me about Aspiration. Like, it's so unique. Again, I've never seen anything in that space. Can you tell us how Clipper fans can take advantage of it and really where you got your love for the environment from?
Thanks. Well, first of all, I think that it's important to underscore that Steve Ballmer and the Clippers understand that change happens from the grassroots and the community. Change doesn't happen top down. And I think that's what's so unique about this partnership is Aspiration and the Clippers are enabling Clippers Nation to participate and lead in their own actions to fight against the climate crisis. And so here's how we're going to enable that. In Clippers tickets, there'll be a planet protection contribution. You'll be able to opt out if you want. We hope you will stay in. You can opt out. And what it'll do is take a piece of your ticket and contribute to a reforestation program that we're running in 9 countries around the world to plant trees that are going to offset the carbon emissions that come from your transportation to the game. So our algorithms calculate the carbon footprint of your transportation to a Clippers game. And then with your planet protection contribution, we'll make that carbon footprint carbon neutral. And so unlike any other sporting event that you can see and attend anywhere in the country, when you buy a Clippers ticket, you are taking a positive climate action and going to watch the Clippers carbon neutral. Now, briefly, let me tell you about how we do that across the board at Aspiration. We take what you already do in your life, and that's using everyday financial products like banking accounts and credit cards and insurance products, and we turn them into positive climate actions by attaching to them automated sustainability tools that embed in what you're already doing anyway effects to create positive climate change. So with your Aspiration credit card, you can make all of your spending carbon neutral. Whenever you buy something on your Aspiration credit card, trees are planted to make sure that the right amount of carbon is offset, right? You can use Aspiration's impact measurement, which is an algorithm like a Fitbit that shows you how the places where you spend money on your Aspiration card treat their workers and the environment. So you can use your card to purchase your goods and services at places that are doing the right thing by people and planet. And then, as the Clippers and Steve are illustrating, we also serve businesses to integrate into what businesses are doing already, climate action. Here's the key insight across the board. To defeat the climate crisis, we need more than just folks like you and I who have been environmentalists all of our lives. We need people who've never thought about the climate crisis to take action. And the way you get people to take actions they've not taken before is you make it really convenient for them and you meet them where they're at. That's the key inside of Aspiration, is we attach sustainability features to the things you have to do anyway, whether it's buy groceries, buy gasoline, or go to your favorite basketball team's event. We make those positive climate actions.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Hi, Joe. Shane Yellen, Ford Sports. I'm just curious, you kind of touched on it there, but beyond the Intuit Dome, what does it mean for you personally and the company to help improve the surrounding community in Inglewood? And was there anything that stuck out with Steve and the meetings you had with him that said this guy's dedicated to helping the community as well?
Yeah, absolutely. Steve Ballmer is one of the most underappreciated, unheralded philanthropists of our time. I know that because he has quietly been an ally of some of the most important social justice movements that I've been involved in, to fight poverty, to fight racial injustice, to fight economic inequality. And he always does it without taking any credit. And so I'm not going to blow his cover too specifically, but I will just underscore that to be aligned with someone of those values is very special. And from soup to nuts, everything about this dome is about making sure this community wins and is better off. The environmental movement intersects with the movement for racial justice. And I think what's so self-aware about everything occurring around this dome is how it's confronting head-on the fact that communities that are hit worst by the climate crisis are communities like Inglewood. And therefore, as we fight the climate crisis, the communities that we have to prioritize are communities like Inglewood. For too long, the question of the climate and the environment has been a question of luxury tackled by people who are looking for a pet project to embrace over cocktails. But the reality is that the climate crisis hits the worst, low-income people and people of color. And we're so proud to be partnered with the Clippers and Steve Ballmer in making sure that as we defeat the climate crisis, Inglewood and the communities that surround Inglewood are at the front of our fight. And so you're going to be hearing a lot from us in the coming years about how we're partnered to make sure that Inglewood is thriving and one of the first communities to exit some of the despair that's happened because of the climate crisis. Thanks.
Just one or two ads. We're part of what we're doing is putting together a fund to do sustainability educational programming. Maybe we'll come up with a little better name that tries to help educate and benefit businesses and entrepreneurs here in Southern California. You know, let's just say starting with the Intuit Dome area and then moving out to Inglewood and surrounding areas. That's an investment we'll make in addition to, you know, putting in 1,000 EV chargers or in Inglewood, 330 in the building. My favorite, we're gonna buy 26, I guess they're tugboats for the Port of LA that are sort of more environmentally friendly. My wife and I actually did a tour down to the Port of LA in Long Beach, and noxious gas, there are neighborhoods in which noxious gases, it's just unbelievable. It is unbelievable. And that is a problem. They get in the way of kids learning and their opportunities. So I thought it was cool when the guy said, "Hey, buy tugboats." So why do I love it? Because it's very tangible. Planting trees is tangible, but tugboats, I love tugboats. I think you're supposed to allow them. They're ships, but I'll call them tugboats.
And Mark Medina, USA Today. Steve, a two-part question here. Is the team fully vaccinated entering training camp? And if not, what's your outlook that the team will be fully vaccinated for opening night?
Yeah, we're very careful under the rules of the Players Association to honor the privacy of our guys. And I don't know, Lawrence Frank had some commentary on that. I have nothing particularly to add. It was two parts and I don't remember the second part.
If the team you think will be fully vaccinated for opening night?
I won't make a prediction.
Thank you. Ballmer, the Athletics. Steve, this is for you. It's obviously very exciting to have this project to look forward to in 3 years. You have to actually get to the 3 years. So what is the challenge for you, or do you even see it as a challenge to balance building a whole arena, dome in Inglewood with what you are trying to do with basketball operations in the current day?
Yeah, I don't think there's much conflict between what we're doing on the basketball side in the short term and what we're trying to do with Intuit Dome, just to take away any notion that there's some pressure. We're trying to win. That's our goal. That's what we live for. That's why we're here to start training camp. We're all in. In parallel, and there's no financial tie. We're going to invest in our team, whatever we need to put ourselves in a position to win. And we're going to invest in this building. Now, 3 years is a long time, particularly in basketball terms. When I first purchased the team, I'm not sure I really understood that, but you know, things change a lot. if I go back and say how many players are on our team who were on our team 3 years ago, that's not a very big number at all. No one yet. Okay. I had to do my final tally to make sure it was no one. So things will change. I mean, I'm not saying we'll change any of our guys now. We love our team and we try to get guys signed up to long-term, longer term deals, which I think we did well this offseason, Lawrence Frank and his team. But at the same time, so we're going to invest to win and we're going to invest in the building. Okay. What does that really mean? I don't know. I've never been through a mass construction project. And frankly, the little construction projects we did on our house and our beach house, little by this standard, my wife was very on top of those. So I don't know the first thing about, now I have a partner who does, Dennis Wong, but I don't know. And so, I hear, oh my gosh, there's a relocation of a utility that we weren't expecting. And I don't know whether I'm supposed to pull out the last 5 hairs I have on my head, or this is natural in the construction process. But I'm excited to have a chance to learn about that. But I think that's where, if we're going to see things, it's going to be along that path, if you will. But pretty parallel. I think our guys are excited that we're investing in the future of our team. And we did consult on some of the designs with some of our players. For example, I can tell you our players were excited about our new Halo scoreboard because I was worried. I said, okay, the guys are used to looking up in a certain way for replays on ref calls. Will it be okay if we put them in slightly different places? So we've had a little player input also into the design of the building across a number of things.
Thank you.
Thanks all. Thanks, Joe.